Jeff's Superscript is brought to you by Black Cat Comics and Collectibles, in my opinion, the best comic shop and clubhouse on the internet. Follow them at Black Cat Burbank on Instagram and join their claim sales on Tuesdays for new books and Fridays for back issues. And don't forget to ask about joining their Stray Cats Club for special perks.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I take a look at all the new comic books coming out on either May 25th or 26th, 2021. And I ask myself the question, what one new comic book would I buy this week if I could buy just one book? This is an amazing week for comic books. There are so many great ones. Ones that I'm pulling are books like The Goddamned, Virgin Brides #5, Haha #5, Heroes Reborn #4, Robin #2, Shadecraft #3, Strange Adventures #10, Batman Black and White #6 comes out. There's a lot of really cool books, and that's just to name a few coming out this week. So this was really tough for me to narrow down this list, but I did the best I could for all of y'all. But let's go ahead and jump right into the books that we want to talk about in this video. First, by taking a look back 2 weeks to my pick from 2 weeks ago, which was SpiderMan, Spider Shadow #2. And the question is, was it a worthy pick to be my just one book pick of the week? And the answer is yes. Oh yeah. I'm really liking it a lot. It is such a compelling and interesting story, so well told by Chip Zdarsky. What I find most interesting about it is I find myself being sympathetic toward the bad guys. I'm starting to feel bad for them. I don't want to give any spoilers away, and I'm not going to, but I'm going to say one word that people who are reading this title will understand when I say it. Kingpin. Okay? Wow. It's really cool. I cannot wait to see what happens moving forward as Spider-Man goes deeper and deeper into his darkness, and what the bad guys who now fear Spider-Man, rightfully so, are going to have to do in order to protect themselves, by way of self-preservation. It's really great. If you haven't read issue #1 and 2, I highly recommend you go out and scoop them up and pick them up right away. And if you're just like Jeff, I'm going to take a hard pass on the floppies, buy the trade paperback then when it's all said and done. Do yourself a favor. I'm going to be talking about this title more in these videos. We'll talk about it more when it's over. It's really good. I recommend it strongly to all of you. All right, let's move forward by taking a look at the books that come out this week. First, by taking a look at my cover pick for this week. And my cover pick for this week is Nightwing #79, this second printing right here. Now, typically my cover picks are very strongly artistically based. They're based on how great I think the art is, or how blown away I am by the art that is presented on the cover of these comic books. Nothing against the art on this book. It's done by Bruno Redondo. Fantastic art, but for me, it's about that subject. The evolution of Dick Grayson from Robin through these different stages of Nightwing as they're doing the kind of climbing up the building gag from Batman from the 60s, It's just really great with Batgirl there looking out the window and those arms that look like they could be Alfred's or somebody's holding up Robin's cape there, the cape there at the bottom. It makes me smile. The whole time I'm talking about it here, I'm smiling, and that's why I like this cover so much. I think it's a lot of fun. Not to mention the fact that people are really excited about Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo's work on this title right now. Ever since they took over creative control of the book, people are talking about Nightwing. So not only do I think that this book might be worth picking up just for this wonderful cover on its own, but also I think it might be worth checking out to read because, like I said, people are really excited about what's coming out from Nightwing right now. And if you're like a hardcore Nightwing fan, man, this is a must-have cover for you. If I was a hardcore Nightwing fan, I'd have to have this. I'd have to have it in 9.8, and I'd have to have it right now. So for all those reasons, that's why this book, Nightwing number 79, the second print, is my cover pick for this week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 6 books. Okay, kind of 6 books. I'm going to cheat a little bit this week, but we'll get more into that in just a little bit. But let's take a look at the books that I want to feature that are coming out this upcoming week that I think are ones that you should have on your radar. And I will end with my book that is my just one book pick for this week. As is now tradition in this section of the video, these books are being presented to you in no particular order. The first book that I want to mention to you is a little book that you may have heard me mention before called The Department of Truth. This is issue number 9 from Image Comics. Here's the description. Cole Turner has seen firsthand the horrifying ways collective belief shapes the world and how theories can manifest and take physical form. But what happens when those thought forms start to have thoughts and desires of their own? What truths about tulpas lay at the heart of the Tibetan Book of the Dead? Okay, I've mentioned this book before. I'm not going to say much about it other than it is fantastic. It's a bit heady, but it is so good. James Tynion IV is so good. I'm such a big fan. I can't say enough good things about him or this title. I highly recommend picking it up. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called Made in Korea. This is issue number 1 of a 6-issue limited series from Image Comics. Here's the description. A quick start guide for your proxy. Step 1, remove box. Step 2, power on. Step 3, raise your child. For Jesse, the world's first true AI system, growing up means learning to think outside the box. This exciting new 6-issue miniseries will redefine what it means to be a family in an age when biological parenthood is no longer a reality. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are a lot of great books coming out this week. And I could have mentioned many books in this particular position, but I mentioned this book because it just sounds so interesting to me. It sounds a little bit like, AI, artificial intelligence, the Spielberg movie that he picked up from Stanley Kubrick, that Stanley Kubrick, had always talked about making and thought about making but never got to, and Steven Spielberg ended up picking up many years ago. This movie was made. It sounds a lot like that, so it might not be the most original concept, but it really does sound interesting and compelling, enough so that in a week where all of these amazing books are coming out, I wanted to point this book out especially to everyone as one to keep your eye on. The next book I want to mention to you is a book called TMNT, The Last Ronin. Issue number 3 of this 5-issue limited series from IDW Publishing. Here is the description. Unexpected allies from the past reveal a possible path to salvation. As the Foot Clan sweeps New York City for the rogue Ronin, a final desperate plan in the name of vengeance is made. Spanning decades, this issue's action and intrigue will set up the astounding final issues. I am not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I have nothing against it. I'm just not really much of a fan. But I picked up issue number 1 because of all the hype about it, because people wouldn't stop talking about it, so I picked it up and I really enjoyed it. It's a really interesting story and it's really well told. And issue number 2 continued that, and it continued to be really strong and really interesting and compelling. And it's now become a book that I am really excited about seeing how the story plays out and where it goes and what's this world that they're presenting to us. What's going to happen to our boy, the last Ronin. It's really interesting and really cool, and I really like it. So I really had to mention it today in this video. The next book I want to mention to you is Black Panther number 25 from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. The final issue of Ta-Nehisi Coates' landmark run It's the end of an era for the Black Panther as renowned writer Ta-Nehisi Coates concludes his Wakandian epic. Over 4 years, Coates has taken the Black Panther to hell and back and expanded Wakanda into the distant stars. Now, in his final issue, he brings T'Challa full circle back to the home he left behind and the crown he has never fully accepted. This is the story of a king who sought to be a hero who was reduced to a slave who advanced into legend, and the man who has struggled to hold up an empire in his bare hands. The journey will conclude, but the legend remains. Don't miss the close of a historic epoch in comic history. Okay, so yes, this is interesting. Black Panther has probably never been more popular than he is right now. It sounds like they've had him on quite an adventure. I haven't been reading it myself, but what I wanted to flag about this book is that it is this creative team's, or this writer's, last issue of it. So, I would think if I was a writer and I'd been working on something for several years and I was going to do a last issue, I would want to go out with a little bit of a bang. So I'm expecting a little bit of a bang to come out of this book. And there are also a ton of covers, as you're seeing here scroll by while I'm talking about this book. So many covers that it's kind of like, it makes you really want to take notice of this book. So I had to go ahead and mention it and put it on this list. The next book that I want to mention to you is my cheat for the day. So I'm gonna mention 3 books to you right now. And I'm going to cheat because they're all interesting to me, but they all fall under the Heroes Reborn heading. I'm going to move through them as quickly as possible. The first one I want to mention is Heroes Reborn, Magneto, and Mutant Force #1 from Marvel Comics. Here's the description. Can Magneto resurrect hope for mutant kind before it's too late? Years ago, Magneto and Professor X led Earth's mutants in a final push for independence against the Squadron Supreme of America. What followed was the Squadron's mutant massacre, a violent rebuttal that left mutant kind forever wounded and Xavier dead. Or so Magneto thought. Years later, Magneto discovers Xavier clinging to life in the astral plane and gathers his allies for a first-of-its-kind rescue mission. Too bad the same mission puts Mutant Force back on the Squadron's radar. Failure means the last gasp of mutant kind, but success means the first breaths of something even more elusive to the mutants of Heroes Reborn. Okay, there's that one. The next one I want to mention to you is Heroes Reborn, Siege Society, #1. Here is the description. Black Widow and Hawkeye lead an assault on the Squadron. After the civil war that split the Squadron Supreme in half, Nighthawk formed his own squadron in Europe. But not all of Europe is okay with it. Baron Zemo has put together his own team to take them down. Who's on this team? Natasha Romanoff, Clint Barton, Scott Lang, and Victor Creed. The Squadron doesn't stand a chance. And then the last one I want to mention is a book called Heroes Reborn, Young Squadron, issue #1. Here's the description. The Squadron Supreme of America have taken root in the hearts and minds of all, but none more so than a trio of youthful champions who call themselves the Young Squadron. Kid Spectrum, Sam Alexander, Girl Power, Kamala Khan, and the all-new Falcon, Miles Morales, are here to fight for truth, justice, and the American flag. Or are they? Beneath the flashy facade of colorful adventure, something grim is stirring, and Deadpool is determined to bring it to light. All right, so I mentioned all 3 of these books. I read all 3 descriptions, and I can basically say the same thing about all 3 of them, and it's generally what I'm liking about Heroes Reborn as an event in general, is that we take these characters that we already know and we tell these kind of twist stories. We have them in a completely different reality where they've developed into different people under different circumstances, and so we can see how they react in those circumstances. The stories sound fun. The characters are some of the best characters, some of the most loved characters that we all know, and then we're going to tell like a different story featuring all of them. I just think it's really, really cool and really, really fun, and what is so exciting about the Heroes Reborn event in general. So if any of those characters that I mentioned in those 3 books interest you, it might be fun for you to pick up one of these Heroes Reborn books and see what kind of a spin are they doing on these characters in this world, this alternate reality. All right, well, that brings us to the final book that we are going to talk about today. This book is the book that I would pick if I could buy just one book this week, and that book is Something is Killing the Children, issue number 16. This is from Boom Studios. Here's the description. The story you demanded begins here, the origin of Erica Slaughter. What shocking events brought Erica to the House of Slaughter, and what did she have to do to join the Order of St. George? The secrets are revealed here for the first time in this perfect jumping on point for new readers. I'd say that's probably pretty true, actually. Listen, if you knew that this book was coming out this week, you knew that it was going to be my pick for this week. I actually kind of maybe did a little bit of a trick by mentioning Department of Truth first and not doing an official Time and Time this week, but no. If you knew Something is Killing the Children was coming out, you knew it was going to be my pick. I'm a massive fan of this book. It is my favorite book out right now. The more that people are reading this book, the more people are becoming fans of this book. This book is a powerhouse, and it's so good and so well done by James Tynion IV and Werther Dell'Edera. It's just amazing. And this issue number 16 is really, really exciting. I mean, the first 15 issues, we were all, Erica was trying to save this town from the monsters that were killing the children. Now we're going back in time, and we are getting the origin story of how Erica Slaughter joined the Order of St. George. This is a really good jumping on point. You don't need to have read the first 15 issues in order to jump on now and start following the story. Key Collector says that this book there's something in development as far as like a television show or a movie for this title. Nobody else has reported on this yet, but we all know it's kind of a foregone conclusion that this book is going to have life beyond this story that we're seeing in the comic books. But right now, all we have is the comic books, and they are really, really good. This book is also likely to be key, at least in my opinion, because since we're going back in time to Erica's origins, there are going to be some first appearances of characters that we haven't seen before. Their longevity is in question because you wonder if we see them back in time and we haven't seen them where we are. Although we haven't seen much of the Order of St. George in the first 15 issues. So it's possible that somebody from her past could end up having an influence moving forward. Regardless of all those things I just said, I absolutely think that this book has a lot of key potential. But even outside of its spec potential, it is just a really, really good read, a really, really good story. To demonstrate how people are jumping on this title, specifically this issue. People are trying to go back and pick up the first 15 issues. It's really, really difficult to do that right now because they have all become really expensive, maybe except for the last 5. You can pick up the first 15 issues in one of 3 different trade paperbacks that collect issues 1 through 5, then 6 through 10, then 11 through 15. later this year in August or September or something, they're going to put out a collected edition that puts out all of the first 15 issues. So there's ways to go back and get that content if you haven't already read it. But like I said, regardless, I would pick up issue number 16 right now. Start picking these up because it's just really, really good. And considering that there have been no issues of this that have come out for the past several months, the Something is Killing the Children fans like myself are chomping at the bit for more Something is Killing the Children. So I'm really excited that it's back. I'm really excited about this issue, and as always, I am really excited about this title. And for all of these reasons, this is why Something is Killing the Children, issue number 16, is my just one book pick for this week. All right, everybody, I appreciate you all sitting through this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and hopefully you liked the information and the books that I highlighted for you this week. If you did like all of the information in this video, likes are appreciated by me. So go ahead and hit that like button right now. You don't even have to do it, just minimize and just hit the like button. It's all done. Easy peasy. In addition, if you haven't subscribed, thank you for watching my video, even though you're not a subscriber. I would invite you to hit the subscribe guy or any other way that you'd like to go ahead and subscribe. But also hit the notification bell because I put out random videos from time to time that I think you're going to not want to miss. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.